So now to our first speaker. He has been solving visual problems for more than 25 years. Ivan Ginev is the founder and creative director of Cog Graphics and graphic design lecturer at New Bulgarian University, where he also runs Graphic Design Week. Today, he will borrow a few superheroes and supervillains from Hollywood to show us what their dashboards can teach us about usability, data visualization, and slightly scary superpower of AI-driven interfaces. Ivan, the stage is yours.
Ping, ping. Good morning. Thank you very much for having me here. I expected this to be in Bulgarian, so sorry for my English. I hope you understand it well enough. I'm a graphic designer, you know this. A little bit more about me. I'll translate some of the stuff if you don't understand Bulgarian. So I've been a graphic designer for many, many years. From before the internet, I saw the whole transformation of the computers, of the way we do design. I love my profession. In 2007, I created my own company, which is also a graphic design studio. And recently, relatively recently, I started teaching graphic design in the university. So you can say I like design a lot. And also I like a lot of movies. I like movies that are sci-fi movies, thrillers with villains and big heroes. I expect you do too, right? You like movies. So I think this is a very good way to look at UX and design, because we usually read articles on Medium, watch YouTube movies about design, read LinkedIn posts, but we don't really use movies to inform our decisions as designers. So my plan for today is to see why we use the dashboard as a metaphor in design, look at some movies and see how villains use dashboards in their movies. Then we can define 5 personas of the bad guys in the movies. I think this will be interesting because we usually do normal users. And then see where are the movies and where are we now, and what we can do and how we can use all this information. I had a lot of fun doing this presentation because, yeah, it's about movies. I hope you like it too. So this dashboard, right? This is where the whole metaphor for UI dashboards started from. This is the table, the screen that we see in front of our car. Why do we use it? Why it's so helpful? Because we don't need to exit the car to see what's the level of the oil in the car, or check the speed in some other way, or see if the lights are on or off. We can see all this in front of us in a very small space, and it's very useful, right? We don't need to understand how the car works to understand what is on and what is off on the dashboard. This is a simple metaphor, and we use it a lot. In a similar way, we don't need to understand how a watch works to see what's the time, right? We don't need to understand all the small details in their way to be combined. We just need to see what's the time. So this is something very similar to the dashboard, and that's why the digital dashboards also work in the same way. We don't need to visit a lot of pages, create a lot of different data queries to understand how our business is doing, or what's the shortest way to do certain distance, or how many steps we have taken. So that's the point of the dashboard. If we have to summarize the point of a dashboard, it would be that a good dashboard will turn complicated big data into small and easy to understand visual. Do we agree on that? Yeah, it should be something like that, right? So, with that in mind, we can see why this works, right? We don't need this whole information, all the XML data about locations and temperatures and different data streams. We only need to understand where are we and what's the temperature there. So that's how a good visual dashboard should work. A little bit more about this. we need to understand that there are several different words for this functionality. We call them dashboards. There's also the cockpit, and there's the control panel. What's the difference between them? Do you know? What's the difference between a control panel and a dashboard? Yeah, that's true. So a dashboard should be a passive way to receive information. You only see the numbers. You don't have any buttons that do anything back. You need the controls for that, and then you create a control panel. Cockpit is the same thing, but for obvious reasons, people don't use that a lot, right? They prefer to call it control panel. So let's do some evil stuff. First, I want to make a disclaimer that I love those movies, but I just don't like the way they create their control panels and dashboards. So, first, do you recognize these? Do you know these movies? Some of them you do probably. If I want, I can create the whole presentation with this whole presentation with only James Bond movies, because the best villains are there. They have the most, too much money, too many resources, and they love to take over the world every time. So this will be very boring, so I decided to include some other movies as well. But let's start with this James Bond movie. It's a classic. It's called Moonraker, and this is the main villain. He's called Hugo Drax. Of course, he's very rich. Of course, he's an industrialist. He builds spacecrafts in this a time very long ago. So he creates his space station. He lives there, and his plan is to destroy the whole population of Earth, right? He thinks that the humans that live here, all of us, are not perfect, and he has gathered only the perfect beings, and they live on the space station, and he plans to send 50 spheres of poison on Earth, and every sphere will kill 100 million people. And then he will wait until all the people are dead, and then he will create a new race of superhumans. That's the perfect villain, right? That's what all villains do. So he lives there. And this is how his control room looks. He's sitting there, and he has all these screens that allow him to monitor the space station and monitor the Earth. So he can know when to strike and when to go back to Earth. How does he use that interface? He's not even looking at it, right? He's looking the other way. Well, he uses operators because the whole hardware is too complex to be used by one person. And that's perfectly normal for that time, because in that time, there were still people who were called computer operators. This was a whole profession where someone was using the computer to create different stuff. Now, every one of us uses a personal computer, right? Or a phone or a tablet or something like that. We do this ourselves. But in that time, it was normal to have a computer operator. That's why he was having a lot of those guys with yellow suits, and he was giving them orders what to do on the computers. They were very complicated things. What would you say about the UX, the usability of that control panel? It's not very good, right? Our main goal as designers should be to make every interface that we do should be as accessible as possible. It should be used by as many people as possible, right? So, next. I think Superman has about 200 spin-off movies. It's a whole universe, and the main villain usually is Lex Luthor. This is his version in that movie. So Lex Luthor is again a very rich guy, but he has more of he knows that information is very important. He usually has some medias that he controls. This was his lair, the place where he lives. It's an abandoned train station. It has a pool, which is very nice. And he has a control room again. But this is the difference here. It's almost the same year, right? But here, the bad guy uses the control panel by himself. He doesn't use an operator. And what's really important about him is that the way that he uses all those technologies is almost like magic. He can use these monitors and display whatever he wants on them, because he has control of all the cameras and he's doing a lot of surveillance around the world. So he can just point one of those buttons and press it, and then he gets whatever he wants on those screens. It's almost like in that fairy tale, mirror, mirror on the wall, show me something, right? And it's also very similar to the way browser tabs work now. We have very many tabs, and we decide what's on the main tab in the browser. And we can still have some other things on the smaller screens. Also, this was their idea about the most expensive screen that you can buy. It's about 25-inch. But at that time, that was their idea of what's possible. So you can see how the way we look at technology changes over time. And what's really curious about it, that is why I was doing the research for the presentation. They used the same control panel in Star Wars. And you see, this is important because you see that even though the movie directors know a lot, they actually don't care about that. They don't understand how control panels work. So, next. No signal. Lex Luthor hates me, I know this. Okay? No, it's part of the way a supervillain takes over the world. You usually get no signal on all your phones, probably you should check your phones too. And then the aliens come. I wanted to have this presentation to be very, very short, but it still became longer. It's like 60 slides, and I'm still half through. It's not this one. Good? Okay, so is Batman a bad guy? It depends, right? Especially in this movie, the whole point was that he can be the good guy, but sometimes he has to pretend to be the bad guy, so he can take all the blame about what happens. So this is one of the best movies that you can watch, right? It's really good. It has a lot of atmosphere, great framing of all the important actions. So the good guy, Batman, when he's in his civil state, uses these screens to monitor the whole city. And he uses them to monitor financials of his corporation. And I think this is not a very good example of user experience, because you have to look at many different screens. And this is not how our eyes work. We prefer to focus on one thing and change the information on only one screen. It's good that he also, this is a nice touch, that you can change the user, right? It's not just, it's not created for one user, and also you can change the different monitors. They can show different stuff, which is useful. But what's important in that movie is something that is related to the real world. I don't know if you have watched this movie. Do you remember how it ended? He was looking for Joker. Joker was doing some really bad stuff, and he wanted to understand what's happening. So he turned all the mobile phones of everyone in the city into a monitoring device that was used to get a picture from every point of the city. So he was listening to all the people and watching what they do. And this is a really big problem from ethics point of view. And that's why, in the end of the movie, they destroyed this system, because you cannot be a good guy and spy on people. So we have to think about that. Next, Again, speaking about villains, this is another great movie, Skyfall. It's one of the 007 movies again. This is Raul Silva. He's agent who went rogue, and this is his control panel. He could have had any kind of equipment that he wanted, and he voted for this. What's funny is that even though it's a very broken computer, it's also a Sony computer. Because Sony is the company that owns the license for James Bond. But do you think this is the best way to access terabytes of information? In that suitcase with that dirty keyboard, it's an awful user experience, which probably explains his mood through most of the movie. But this is not the worst part about the movie, and this is not the worst interface in the movie. This is the worst interface. This is MI6. This is the intelligence service of UK, and they use these big monitors and show different information on them. But from UX point of view, I think this is a tragedy, because it breaks probably every UX law that you can think of. It's all in the same color. The contrast is very, very bad. You don't have spacing between the elements. It's very hard to read some of the stuff. It's probably not even meant to be read. You don't need to read this. Why is it here? How do you change the screens? Where are the buttons? Where do you need to watch? What's the main thing? And this is not just one example. I'll show you that this is a whole trend in the movies, and that's the reason why I decided to create this presentation, because I think this is a very bad way to look at user experience. Some other screens. Do you think anyone can read this? These are actually words. All of these are words. How can you make a decision based on a dashboard that looks like that? That's basically the opposite of good UX. It's the same everywhere. This is the director of MI6 in another movie. Again, can you read this? Can you read this? Can you see what's this street here? It's totally broken. But this is how the interfaces in movies look. And you can say that probably this is just the movies. No one cares about that, right? Again, some other movies. This is the way all the interfaces look in the movies about James Bond. The reason we have this kind of UX is because of this movie. Have you seen this? Probably some of the more mature people in the audience have seen this. For the younger ones, this was one of the first blockbuster sci-fi movies, and Tom Cruise is using this whole graphic interface to navigate through stuff. If you have been in a BMW or a Mini Cooper car, you know that they have this central jog button that you can rotate left and right. And if you have tried to enter text, for example, you know how awful it is, because you have to rotate through the whole alphabet for each letter. So this is an awful way to enter information. And also, can you imagine if you have to read an A4 page with text on this screen? Yeah, it's not how we read. It's not a good way to represent information, and it looks very complicated, and it also doesn't give a lot of useful information. For example, if you want to know, we have some photos here, right? What color is the background? What color is the room? What's the color of the quotes of the guy that is being monitored here? We cannot tell because the whole interface is monochrome. It's in only one color. But the real problem came with this movie. You have seen it, right? It's a very good movie. It has a very nice story about how Iron Man was created and how he created his first suit and how he created Jarvis. Jarvis is the operating system that he uses to power his suits and his whole technology thing. And this thing became very, very fashionable after that. This is actually, we can say that it's augmented reality, right? This is how it looks when you see through it. Can you see who is standing here, for example? You cannot see because you have some stupid interface on top of it. So this is, again, a very bad case of UX. But Jarvis can be used in a couple of ways. It can be used as augmented reality. It can be used as screen also. So the same operating system can be used on monitors, where it looks relatively okay, but the worst way to use it is probably this. This is a mixed mode. It's augmented reality plus physical monitors, and somehow Tony Stark understands everything around him. That's why this is a fantasy movie, right? Because this cannot happen. No one understands this stuff. This is my favorite screen. This is the operating system of Jarvis. This is how you open files. See? Here are the drives, and you click on something, and then it zooms in, and you get this thing, file access, ... So we can agree this is a very bad UX. The worst part is that this becomes inspiration for real interfaces. This is a real thing. This is a skin for Windows 7 probably, made by some Russian guy somewhere. But this is a real thing, yeah? You have the weather, you have some folders there, and this is very complicated, and probably no one is going to enjoy using it, even though it looks great. So I want to remind you what's a good dashboard. It's a way to show a very simple visual representation of very complex data behind. And when you turn it around, you get the movie interface, where you take a very simple data, and from that you create a very complex and difficult to understand visual. So that's why it doesn't work, because this is not how it should be. It should be the other way around. So these were the bad examples. Here are some good examples. Have you seen this movie? It's a very good movie, and this is the irony, because those were movies for adult people, and the next two examples are a movie for kids and one very old movie. These are the only two examples of very good interfaces that I could find. So Syndrome is the bad guy here. Again, he wants to control the world and kill all other super heroes. So this is how his operating system looks. You see, this is the desk there, and you sit there, and you control this whole screen from the console at the bottom. And launching a rocket is a very hard thing to do. It involves a lot of calculations, predictions, different metrics that you need to take care of. And this is the simplest possible representation of that complex data. That's why that's a good dashboard, right? Because we show something very complex in a very simple way. Again, you have a lot of thought has gone in this, because, for example, you have a menu here that is easy to read, and it also indicates what's currently selected. Yeah? Someone was thinking about how to create a good interface. And you can see that color is also used in the right way. You see, the whole thing is blue, and when you use another color, it's only because it matters, and it should be red, because this is something important and critical. And also the typography is very nice. It has this 70s feel to it. So I think this is a very good example, and the best part of this interface is this keyboard. You see, this is the first interface that uses a normal keyboard that's easy to use, easy to read. And it also has all the letters and all the numbers, and it has a small Apple key here. So this is a good movie, and this is an example of a good interface that's easy to use and shows information in a simple way. And one more thing about Syndrome. He is not actually a superhero. He's a normal guy who wants to have superpowers, and his whole idea in this movie was to give, to remove the superpowers from selected few and give superpowers to everyone else. And I think this is a very good metaphor for our profession. Our point is to create superheroes from everyone. So, last movie. Have you seen this? Again, probably the more mature people. This movie is called Space Odyssey. It's probably the best sci-fi movie that you can watch. The director, Stanley Kubrick, is known for his perfectionism. He likes to make even the smallest detail as good as possible. He was a photographer before he became a movie director. That's why he has this eye for details. So the bad guy in the movie is HO 9000. You have seen this red circle. You know when you see that it's danger. You know that something bad is coming. So the whole operating system of the spaceship in 1968 had this design, which is a very good design because it's persistent. You have screens that show only one metric on each screen. And you can easily monitor the different systems that are on that spaceship where the guys are. And in the middle, you have this camera, which allows you to speak with the system and also gives you back voice feedback. It's very clean, very easy to read, and the color means which system you're looking at. And when you move around the space station where the astronauts live, you have more consoles like this, which have the same screen ratio, squares, and they have the same colors. So when you move around the spaceship, you can still monitor all the different systems in a way that's very easy to understand. You don't need to click anything or type, but you can still do this with the control panels below. And to understand what level of attention to the detail Stanley Kubrick had, the next scene, yeah, they had to let one of the guys go outside the ship to fix some of the stuff, and they were monitoring his biometrics. And you can see that they were even using a red color to show that there was a problem with one of his metrics. This is the kind of detail that I want to see in the movies. So I think this is a very good example. Okay, eventually they had to kill the AI. This is one of the first movies that created our fear for artificial intelligence that will take over the world and kill us all. So they had to reset him and remove his memory and start him from the beginning. But what's important is that this metaphor for the way artificial intelligence will look started from this movie, and we still have it this is from Mission Impossible, one of the latest parts, and this is Siri, right? Siri is a small circle that changes its color and speaks to us. That's how we imagine the perfect being will look like, probably. So, quickly, let's create 5 personas for the bad guys from the movies. This is in Bulgarian. I'll have to translate it. This is the first time I use artificial intelligence to create pictures, so bear with me. It was fun. So first we have the algorithm architect. This usually is a villain, a bad guy that likes technology very much and wants to use it to control all the people. That's why he looks at people as big data. Those are sets of data that you need to curate, categorize, and from that you can forecast what they will do. So this is basically someone who wants a dashboard that has a lot of metrics, a lot of trends, a lot of ways to visualize different forecasts about what will happen with the information around the world. Can you create a dashboard for him? If you know that persona. Next, we have the puppeteer. This is a guy who always stays in the shadow and wants to control the people's emotions and thoughts. He probably uses a lot of propaganda and a lot of social media to change people's views on different stuff. He wants to see how he can manipulate people. So his dashboard will probably have a lot of sociological data, demographics. He probably wants to see what the society thinks about different things and see how he can manipulate them. Next, we have the financial tycoon, who is very rich. He thinks that he can control the world through the financial system and different resources. He probably makes people dependent on resources, and that's how he controls them, or she. So he needs the classical financial dashboard with lots of charts, how different companies are doing, how the different stocks are moving. So we have seen a lot of dashboards like this, so we can imagine very clearly how this bad guy works. Next, we have the geopolitical strategist, who is thinking about ways to take control through the traditional power structures. So he cares about countries, he cares about army, he cares about borders, he cares about conflicts. He starts conflicts or he takes part of them. So he probably needs a lot of maps, a lot of data from intelligence. We can see some more a dashboard with more maps on it probably, and more circles and arrows. And finally, we have the bioengineer. You remember the first villain? He wanted to poison the whole population. So we have this kind of person who is more scientific, and he cares about biological weapons, viruses, outbreaks, how people's health will look like. Probably we want to gather information about our private health data, because this is what they use to manipulate stuff. Okay, so these were imaginary persons, right? These are target personas that don't really exist. Or do they? See, this is the problem that I started with movies from the 60s and the 70s, and in that time, this was only fantasy. It was like a scary fairy tale. But in our current time, everything that I'm showing you is already possible. It's not a movie anymore. These people exist. They have unlimited resources. They have artificial intelligence, technologies, political influence. Do you think Sam Altman uses the same ChatGPT as us? Or do you think the Facebook of Mark Zuckerberg looks like our Facebook? Or do you think that these people will think twice if they can take some money from us in a certain way if they don't get in prison for that? Yeah, it's a really interesting question. We already have many. This has happened a lot, right? We have a lot of data leaks. We have governments that are using social media to influence people. We have this problem with what happens in the big corporations. How do they use our data? And the only thing that is stopping those guys from becoming the villains from the movies is probably their own ethics, their own moral standards. And the bad dashboard. And this is the problem, right? We are graphic designers, we are UX designers, and sometimes we happen to work for people like that. So I don't have an answer for that. I wanted to let you think about this in the whole day and in the next lectures. We have to really think about who we are working for. If you're interested in this stuff, here are a couple of sites that contain a lot of information about different movies and their interfaces and how this has been solved in some TV series or movies. And also, the last link contains all the James Bond villains and their command centers, and it's very nice to see how the whole idea of the supervillain changes over time. So, thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Ivan. great speech, and let's disagree that animations are for kids only, because
They are
there's
not.
one great thing about animations: there are no bad acting, right? So thank you for being with us today.